Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'd like to start by welcoming you all to our webinar to go over OECM's recently awarded Math Skills Digital Tools Agreements. So my name is Sarah Chudawala. I'm a Customer Relationship Manager at OECM, and I'm joined today by Rupa Gill, who is the Director of Sourcing at OECM. We also have Agnes Tiget on the webinar with us, and she'll be taking questions in French at the end. So we're super excited to host this webinar today and also allow the opportunity to ask any questions. Before we get started, there are a couple of housekeeping points I can go over really quickly. So we expect this webinar to run for about 30 minutes, followed by a 15-minute question and answer period. During the webinar, everyone is going to be placed on mute in order to minimize any background noise. I know we're all working from home, but if you do have any questions or comments at any point during the webinar, please submit them using the question box within the webinar platform, and we'll be sure to take up your questions at the end of the webinar. We do have time allocated for that, as I mentioned. And finally, following the webinar, we will share this presentation deck, and a recording of this webinar will also be made available through the OECM website. So if you miss any details or if you would like to share the presentation, you'll definitely be able to do that. And for our French-speaking attendees joining us today, we will also be sending out this presentation deck in French following the webinar. So we do have a fully packed agenda today. So we'll start off by providing some background about these agreements and an overview of the project. And then we'll talk about the agreement itself and highlight what is actually available through the awarded supplier partners and the systems that they offer. And then towards the end, we'll go over how to start using these agreements, and then we'll end off with our Q&A sessions. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Rupa to get us started.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sarah, and good morning, everyone. So with respect to the project overview, this is one of 3 agreements that were awarded as part of the Digital Learning Tools Initiative. In March 2020, OECM and the Ministry of Education executed a vision statement, which as a result of it, the sourcing team added 3 projects to their sourcing plan for digital learning tools. OECM led the sourcing process for 3 projects: Career and IPP Tools, which was awarded in August 2020, Literacy and Research Tools, which again was awarded in August 2020, and Math Tools, the one that we're here for and awarded in December 2020. We worked very closely with Ministry of Education and French and English school boards across Ontario to develop the RFP for math tools. The focal point of this agreement is for math skills, including financial literacy, coding, geometry, mathematical models, fractions, and so on. Next slide, please. A project advisory committee was formed to provide subject matter expertise and recommendations for the business requirements and overall procurement strategy. This committee was made up of Ministry of Education and the school boards that you see listed, from Hamilton Wentworth District School Board all the way to Thames Valley District School Board. We like to take a moment to thank all the members of the project advisory committee who helped us pull together the requirements, the procurement strategy, as well as the evaluation methodology. Next slide, please. Okay, so with respect to the OECM sourcing process, OECM conducts procurements that are fair, transparent, in a competitive manner. These procurements are compliant with the trade agreements as well as the BPS procurement directive and the interim measures of supply chain centralization. OECM sourcing process goes from planning to agreement management. In the planning stage, OECM, gather data and research and scope with respect to the scope of products and services. We perform supplier consultations. For this agreement, we conducted 10 supplier consultations on the discussion of market trends, pricing, product, and functionality that is currently available in the marketplace. We engage customers to create the project advisory committee for the project, which the participants were noted in this previous slide. Once we move from the planning stage, we go into the RFX development stage. We post a notice on the electronic tendering sites to let the market know that there is an RFP that will be coming out shortly. The requirements are defined with the Project Advisory Committee, and the RFP is finalized. The purpose of this RFP, again, was for a commercial off-the-shelf math skills, digital tools, and services RFP. For posting, all RFPs are published on the Ontario Tenders portal. This RFP was posted for 32 days. We held a proponent information session, which was well attended. In addition, we facilitated a question and answer round, 2 rounds of those, and we received over 30 questions on this. The evaluation for this RFP was based on curriculum compliance, functionality, integration, data reporting, privacy, and security. After the evaluation, we move into the award and agreement stage. For more details for the procurement process, please refer to the RFP sourcing process summary on our website, which Sarah will go through later. We have 6 awarded suppliers that offer systems in English, French, and English and French. The systems are Zorbit, Knowledge Hook, Gizmos, StudyForge, NetMath, and Sprig Learning. I will now turn it over to Sarah to talk about the agreement.
Thank you, Rupa. So let's get into some of the details of high level of the agreement. These agreements were awarded in December 2020, and they have an initial term of 3 years. And so that first expiry isn't until December 2023. There is one optional extension period of up to 3 years. And then after the first year of the agreement, suppliers do have the option to request a pricing refresh, and that would be on an annual basis. So before we dive into each system provided by our awarded supplier partners, let's cover some high-level key highlights of these OECM agreements. So as Rupa mentioned, the focus of these agreements is to provide systems that support the development and assessment of math functions, and that would be through age-appropriate content that resonates with our students. So this includes fractions, coding, geometry, mathematical modeling, financial literacy, and so on. Each system is compliant with the Ontario Math curriculum and will be kept compliant should there be any changes to the curriculum. So we expect our suppliers to stay on top of any updates to curriculum requirements and adapt the systems as such. Depending on the system, students would have access to virtual experiences that are visual and gamified to help them in their development of these key math skills. So there's a lot of really great options for students. There's also some very helpful features for teachers as well to help them develop their lesson plans and also track student progress and hone in on any gap areas. So that would be set up based on user roles. So there's also the capability to have multi-user access depending on who the account is intended for. And most importantly, there's tons of support available built into the agreement in regards to training and implementation of these systems to get acquainted with them and know how to make the most of them. So now we'll briefly go over each of the suppliers and the systems that they offer. The first system is Zorbit's Math Adventure, provided by our supplier Clockwork Fox Inc. This system is available in both English and French, and it's for our younger students in kindergarten to grade 3. Zorbit's Math Adventure, it's a blended learning platform, so it can support both classroom and online learning, and it helps to build students' conceptual understanding of math through the use of digital and offline tools and resources. It has the Zorbits game for students that features a broad library of activities based on research-backed models and manipulatives embedded in an exciting adventure to get our students excited about the content. For teachers, it includes a dashboard that allows them to craft rich math lessons, monitor growth, and create student-centered intervention strategies. And one cool feature here is that they can use the data that they collect to create targeted assignments and use specific activity recommendations to help close any gaps in learning. The Zorbits team does work directly often with our school boards to ensure effective implementation based on that board's goals and vision for student achievement in kindergarten to grade 3 math level. So that would include professional learning opportunities, data analysis, and engagement campaigns as well. Next is Knowledge Hook, provided by Iveda Inc. So Knowledge Hook is available also in English and French, and it's primarily for students in grades 1 and 2. It is an instructional guidance system that uses engaging assessments to unlock insights and expert guidance for math teachers. So school boards can measure, monitor, and focus their math improvement efforts using Knowledge Hook's school and district level data dashboards. It has over 900 visual math questions, and a lot of those are language-free questions, so really a big focus on that visual learning. Students can partake in game-based warm-up activities that assess their readiness and practice to help them strengthen their learning and improve their fluency in these skills. There are also exit tickets as part of Knowledge Hook. So these exit tickets would be used towards the end of class to help assess students' understanding of the lesson. And then finally, there's support for gap closing. So teachers can identify common errors, misconceptions, and learning gaps that students have in their understanding of this math material. Next up is Gizmos, which is provided by Explore Learning. So this is available in English for grades 3 to 12, and it includes over 400 gizmos, which are interactive math simulations aligned to the latest standards to help teachers bring new learning experiences for students. So their approach, Gizmo's approach to learning is it's inquiry-based, and it's been extensively researched to promote conceptual understanding. This system has been designed with a lot of interactivity to allow students to play around with variables and what-if situations to help them discover math concepts. It takes the data based on student activity and has visualizations and graphic tools to help capture and compare the results from those what-if experiments. It also includes in-depth activities that strengthen student application of the concepts that they're learning. Gizmos, this is the math simulations again, they can support blended learning, whole group, and one-on-one learning as well. For teachers, Gizmos offers resources to make planning easier with customizable lesson materials and feedback on student progress through reports and data analysis. So those are some cool features there. I'm gonna pass it back to Rupa now to go over our next 3 suppliers and systems.
Okay, thank you. So the next system is called StudyForge, and it's offered by our supplier partner, Kelowna Christian Center Society. This is available for grades 7 to 12, and it is completely video-based with over 4,000 videos based on cognitive load model of learning, which provides a multi-sensory experience for watching what unfolds in the video while hearing the explanation and writing targeted notes. It includes video instruction, interactive practice, assignments, quizzes, tests, and projects, all of which throughout the course that can be used on their own or linked with the learning management system. StudyForge was created by e-learning teachers to overcome traditional online learning challenges. They have video content that is designed to be conceptual rather than strictly procedural, introducing concepts that are easy to engage inquiry models. Okay, next slide, please. The next Okay. The next up, we have NetMath, which is provided by our supplier partner, Scholab Inc. NetMath is a digital interactive program which is available in English and French that helps build conceptual understanding, procedural fluency, and real-world application in mathematics for grades 1 through 11. NetMath provides a purposeful instructional support to help learners develop and succeed. The program can be used in a hybrid mode for teacher-led or a whole classroom instruction or in small groups or personalized learning. It offers more than 10,000 activity pages with over 100 interactive objects organized into a digital book. In terms of student engagement, there are stars based on success of every activities that is undertaken. There are skill badges that show progress in interdisciplinary skills, and there are knowledge badges to reward students for their progress. So these are great ways to keep students invested in their own learning and progress. On the reporting and the analysis side, there are some cool features which include real-time progress tracking, automated corrections to save teachers' time. Teachers can also prepare and send assignments to students, letting them work on what they have deemed to be relevant to their teaching, whether it's in the classroom or it's at home. And last but not least, our sixth supplier partner, Sprig Learning Inc., offers Sprig Learning System in English. Sprig Learning is for students in kindergarten to grade 3. It helps all early learners develop positive identity as a mathematics learner by supporting them to make critical decisions based on math principles. The system provides flexible options based on universal design language for learning principles for engagement, representation, and action and expression. They have also differentiated different learning models, and they have a 20-minute assessment. Sprig Math helps teachers use real-time data to inform their classroom instruction and visualization progress for students. Sprig Math also includes a math kit for all classroom teachers. The purpose of the math kit is to provide a set of early years math resources for the classroom that help introduce math concepts to the students prior to the assessment, as well as support math learning throughout the school year. The Sprig Math Kit includes a set of materials and math manipulatives that teachers can use for center-based learning in the classroom. The math kit was designed by mathematics teachers and includes a teacher guide with a number of suggested classroom and center-based activities. So there's a lot of focus on students and teachers. I will now turn it back to Sarah in terms of how to get started.
Thank you, Rupa. So a lot of information about the suppliers and the systems themselves. Let's spend a few minutes going over how to actually use the agreements and getting started. So as with all OECM agreements, our agreement-related documents are available through the OECM website. And so that's the master agreement with each supplier partner, the RFP, the price list for each supplier, and the customer supplier agreement template as well. But to access all of those amazing detailed documents, you do need to log into your OECM account if you've already got one. If you don't yet have an account, you can just go to the OECM website, oecm.ca, and complete the registration form. So once you're in the OECM website, you would just search up this agreement, and that's where you'll find the page that has all of the information at a high level, and then also information about the suppliers, including their contact information as well. And this right here is a screenshot just to help you visualize a little bit of the agreement landing page itself. So you would see the Math Skills Digital Tools page. On the right side, you would see a list of suppliers, the expiry dates, things like that. And then if you scroll down on that same page, there is a supplier section for each supplier that's been awarded. And in that section, that's where you'll find, once you're logged in, of course, you'll find the documents related to their pricing, the master agreement, the CSA template that we talked about. And then in the future, as the agreement progresses, any amendments that are issued, those would be under that section as well. So once you're in, this is just a process we'll walk through about how to actually take it from start to end. Once you're in and have access, you would go to that same agreement page, review the master agreements, review the details with each supplier and the pricing. Mentioned there is a separate price list for each supplier, so that's just something to note. If you've got any questions as you review, and so a lot of times that's around the scope of the agreement or the terms of the agreement, please feel free to contact our customer support team, or you can contact the suppliers directly as well. I mentioned their contact information is available right next to the documents themselves. So either option works. We do know that some of our customers are required to do a second stage, so you can certainly do that. It's not mandatory from OECM side. It depends entirely on your own internal procurement policies. And we'll go over a bit about what that process really entails. But whether you decide to do a second stage or not, once you know which supplier you'd like to work with, you would then sign the customer supplier agreement. So that's the CSA. The CSA is an agreement between yourselves as the customer and the supplier that you've chosen to work with. And it is governed by the OECM Master Agreement, but you do have the flexibility within that CSA to insert your own unique requirements. And that's how OECM agreements are generally set up, to allow you to customize them as much as you can. Now, one really important point to note here is that that CSA would be signed at the board level, not the school level. So we highly encourage all schools that are interested in working with OECM suppliers to contact their board procurement departments to ensure that there isn't already an existing CSA with another supplier, or there's no other conflicts of interest either. So again, CSAs are signed at the board level, not by individual schools. And similarly, it's important for boards to communicate that to their schools as well, just so everyone's on the same page. So we mentioned a second stage procurement process. Through this agreement, you do have the option to use the pricing that OECM has negotiated, or you can issue an optional second stage request to get quotes specific to your organization. Once again, the decision to issue it, the second stage, it is 100% yours and fully dependent on whether your internal policies require you to do one or not. OECM has prepared a second stage template for you to use if you'd like. It is available on the same webpage that I showed earlier, just towards the top where all of the RFP and other general documents are. So if you decide to move forward with a second stage, you have two options. You can conduct it directly with the suppliers, or you can request OECM to step in and help you through that process as well. So first step would be to complete that template with your unique requirements. Once it's filled out, you would send that document to the suppliers or work with OECM to get it to the suppliers. And then once the suppliers submit their responses, you would evaluate the responses based on whatever evaluation criteria that you've decided to include. And that could be pricing, it could be proposed solutions, whatever it is aligned with your needs and timelines. And then based on your evaluation, you'd narrow down your chosen supplier, at which point you'd be ready to sign the CSA and start working with that OECM supplier. So in addition to that second stage process, OECM does have a lot of other support types available throughout the term of the contract. So that includes ongoing contract management, including price refreshes and vetting any changes to the pricing throughout the contract term. It could be extensions, it could be executing any amendments that are required. So we do all of that on your behalf, and you don't have to worry about anything or any changes or updates to your CSA. If you've ever got any questions about the scope of the agreement and what is or isn't included, we're available to support you there too and provide information. And that can include sometimes reaching out to the suppliers to confirm. So we're happy to do that. We also have frequent business reviews with all our suppliers and discuss any challenges or good things that happen, and overall just the quality of service that they're expected to uphold for OECM customers. So that gets a little bit into the performance management side of it. And there's a number of criteria that we monitor that have been built into the master agreements. So for this agreement, for example, this is from the master agreement with Explore Learning. These are some of the metrics that we monitor. Essentially, a performance management scorecard allows us to gauge the performance of the supplier over the life of this agreement, just to ensure that OECM customers are consistently receiving good quality service. So as you can see from this chart, there are some metrics for this agreement that are already lined out, and some of them may seem straightforward, but they're extremely important from a service delivery perspective. So we take these very seriously. And all of this is detailed in the master agreement itself, if you'd like to read in further detail. So as we wrap up and get ready to get into our question and answer session, before we move into that, some contact information. If you'd like to reach out and get more information, you can contact our customer support team. And then if there's any funding related questions, you can contact the ministry directly as well.